If you want, I can limit it to that. But the attacks on my platform dates back to 2017. In fact, when that attack happened in Banjul last year, I did a press conference in which I referenced when one of our journalists was attacked while he was on a tour with the president at the Lamin Koto Makati ferry terminal back then in 2017 or 18. I made reference to when Fatou Samba was arrested at the Banjul International Airport. I made reference to when Ibu Keita, a former video camera person of Gambian Talents, was attacked at the police in Latrikunda, and so many other instances. But being specific to yours, the question you asked, I wasn't in Banjul even for that event. In my capacity as the executive director of the Washington West African Center, my office does a lot of work, advocacy work in Washington State with lawmakers trying to influence policies and policy decisions. Even the week that I came here, 2 days before I came here, I was at the state capitol in Washington to meet with the lawmakers there. So I came here and I paid a courtesy call to the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Sidi Njai. 5 minutes into my conversation with him, after he received me, he got a phone call and he asked me to hold on. He picked the phone and talked. I could hear the other person on the other hand. They talked. When they finished, apparently it was the president who called him. And he told me there's an issue at BCC, is the swearing in of the mayor and the councillors. And our people have been denied. There is an issue there that's going on between our executive, our councillors, elected councillors, and those of the UDP. So I need to go and take care of that. If you are still in Banjul, we can meet in the next 3 hours. I told him, no problem, that's important. So I decided to stay in Banjul. Giving it a second thought, my team was there on the ground. I said, let me just go and see what is happening there. And also see, since I have a group of young people I sent there, that is what took me to that event. I was not supposed to, I went there, watched it. Of course, the NPP folks had boycotted the swearing in. So UDP folks had their own swearing in ceremony. After them, NPP also got sworn in. And I happened to be there. Now, after the NPP folks got sworn in, one of their councillors, Tunko Jame, was walking out. And as he was walking out, some UDP folks were booing him. They provoked it. UDP provoked that. They started booing Tunko. And Tunko got mad. Prior to that, I've seen videos of NPP folks in Banjul being accused of wanting to buy the voters' cards and rig the election and stuff. So because they were posting them online, Tunko made a statement that, okay, enough is enough. So he went to attack the UDP folks. And then these private securities of NPP who were guarding those councillors and stuff went to reinforce Tunko to beat this UDP guy. The young man who I eventually was saving, something Cham, he's a young journalist from Jamano TV, Malik Cham, was capturing this event. And they turned to him and told him to stop capturing it. Now I started where I am standing, I started recording them as they got on Tunko and these guys get on them. I activated my journalism mode immediately and I started capturing the scene. They hit Malik with something on his nose. They broke his nose and he yelled. His camera person the same thing. Malik ran away and they followed him. I captured that moment and that is my crime. Capturing what they did to Malik was my crime. They came to me as well. They have their tasers and stuff and doing all of that. And they came to me and said that I should stop recording. I told them based on what grounds? I'm doing my work. Stop, don't touch me. And one of them told me, whatever. Before I know it, he was talking. Before I know it, he gave me a nasty slap. And this is after Malik was, they captured Malik and returned back with him and was going to deal with him. What most likely saved him is because of my intervention, because they saw me capturing that scene.
You've threatened to take legal action against them, and then you describe your attackers as the great boys of this government.
Green Boys of.
Like the return of the Green Boys. And then you threatened to take legal actions against them. But since then, have you taken them to court?
When this incident happened, I said I'll follow due process. And that is exactly what I did. I haven't still given up on anything. The very first thing I did is go to the police and report the case, because that is what, when I sought legal advice, I was asked to follow due process. And that is what I did, which is report the case to the police. My first point of contact was the Carnifing police, because I was in Carnifing. They told me they don't have jurisdiction over it. I should go to Banjul. I went to the Banjul headquarters where my statements were taken. They followed the process and did all the things, asked me to bring witnesses. I brought Malik as a witness, brought Ramatullah Gay, who is one of our staff who was there on the ground as a witness. I brought different things, everything that they asked me. They asked me to write a statement. I did it. The state is supposed to do prosecution. I did that and submitted it, only to learn that this case in fact is under private police, and they transferred me to private police, where I was escorted by a police officer to go hand over the file to them. Officer Dambele is responsible for private police. I have followed up with him up to a few months ago about this case. Not only did I do that, on a separate note, I also engaged the Gambia Press Union, who is the parent body of all the media houses. They did some facilitation for me and led me through the process and took me to the National Human Rights Commission, which I lodged, a complaint, a formal complaint at, and followed up with them. I was referred to Mr. Nyang, who is responsible for their legal unit, who asked me to lodge a formal. I spoke to their chairman, who led me to Mr. Nyang, who is the leader of their head of their legal unit. They followed all the processes and said, eventually interviewed me and did everything, and said they followed it up with the Gambia police and gave their recommendations and everything for the police to prosecute. I haven't heard any official correspondence. I went to the American embassy, who, because I'm a US citizen, and asked them to intervene and act as they would have done for any American citizen, including if it was a white male Caucasian. I demanded that from the embassy because I'm a citizen of the United States. I want them to take some action. I followed through up to the last minute, followed up. I got busy with so many things. Realistically, I want to continue pursuing it. I have done all these steps and still continue to pursue it. It has distracted my trip last time so much, and has distracted me while I was in the United States in the past 6 months. I have done my part, and I am still not giving up. However, I have so many responsibilities and so many things that pursuing this one thing, which I have nothing to do but to see that the Malik Charms get justice, to see that this is not done to any other one person, to see that the person, the perpetrator of this crime, is brought to book. I recognize him anywhere I see him in this country. People recognize him. When I posted his videos on social media and pictures, people identified him. They said he's a former drug squad officer that lives in Wellingara. The police is supposed to do their, for investigation. NPP were the ones that brought them there. They know them. I've given names of people who probably have information that if the police pursue them, they will get something. But the Officer Dambele, told me he doesn't want to lose his job, that this is very tough. They are told that he works, he started asking me a question, does he work at State House? When I went to private station, I'm not making this thing, does he work at State House? This is a special thing. When some of the people were mentioned as folks that may be of potential interest that they can interrogate or ask questions, they were hesitant. And he was hesitant, and he's still hesitant to do anything. I call him, he doesn't even pick my calls or answer to me. I'm in America, thousands of miles away. I can only do so much. And unfortunately, yes, I don't have all those resources to pump into getting that done. But if all the institutions that are in place take their necessary steps and actions, I am ready. And this is what the GPU told me. This is what the Human Rights Commission told me. And even the police themselves, people bring cases to them, and with time, those people give up on the cases and they cannot do any further. I'm not ready to give up. I haven't given up. Let them be ready to do their work, and I will do all that I can.
Okay, we've also seen a rise in attack on journalists since the change of government. You've made mention of several attacks on your staffs, and then we've seen attacks on other journalists under the Barrow government. What message do you have for the government in ensuring that the safety of journalists is protected?
Let them train the security apparatus. Let them train their party militants and supporters and surrogates. Let them train their officials, government officials, to know that the media and the journalists are not their enemies, that we are stakeholders. We are the fourth state of the government. We are the fourth state of the country. Our role in the country cannot be underestimated. It's extremely important. It's as important as any of them and their roles and jobs. So they should not intimidate us, they should not threaten us, they should create that level playing field and take us as people that are doing their jobs. That orientation has to happen. Let them not feel threatened by us. If they are not doing anything wrong, they have nothing to be scared about the journalists, and they should treat us with respect and dignity and give us our rightful due. Okay. And that's what I have to say.
Finally, the state of the country, the security, the food prices, the living cost. What is your take on this? You've been living in the West for quite a number of years, and then you are now in the country. What is your take on this current situation?
You know, I often say this in my shows, for those who watch my Lutak Gambia Rudel show, or Limagis Banjul, that factually, this is the one country from the many that I've been to that I see that probably takes pride katajirinte ya la banku dingol kang di toroxal jël mbekté ak contenté ngir gis sen doomi dekay ñu torox wala sonna. This is that one country that I see that people who are in positions of responsibilities that should be trying to find and devise solutions to people's problems are actually on a regular basis enjoying seeing the people suffer and seeing their personal selfish gains. I mean, triumph over the collective good of the society. It's rather unfortunate. Measures should be taken. I, as an individual, am doing my quota. My office, the Washington West African Center, it's doing its quota. Gambian Talents Promotion is doing its quota towards changing that status quo by empowering and helping to build the people, by helping to give contracts and deserving people who can actually benefit the little bit, whatever it is, to benefit their families. The prices of commodities are rising. It's everywhere around the world. That's a fact. Even in the United States, prices are rising, but measures are being taken. For example, that is why the Washington state government came up with the Working Families Tax Credit to boost the economy and support struggling families so that they have extra money to bring home. There are social services in place by the government to support the people. Seeing these women and men struggling and being creative because opportunities are not created by the government for them, they become creative and sitting on the streets selling as market vendors, waking up very early in the morning, doing all the things that they do. Even if the government wants to do for the collective good of the society, I mean, what do you call it? Demolish these roads and whatever it is that the people are doing. There should be a way to do it. There should have been a strategic plan in place. There should have been a system in place. There should have been options and alternatives for those people who are there getting a decent livelihood to take care of their families. And I'm saying this because it hits home. My mom fed me through that type of thing. There was no opportunity for us. My mom is not educated. My dad is not educated. They had no option. My dad was a farmer, going to the village to farm Kerbiram. My mom was the one in Farafenye. When my dad goes to the farm, my mom was the one, who was selling bahal, selling dulin and duty to feed me and my siblings and take care of us. If this was then at the time, I'm just imagining. No opportunity was created for these people. Can they not have an alternative market where they can put them? So the country and its status quo, whether the high prices of commodities, the unstructured nature of things in this country, something needs to be done. People in public offices need to learn that they are there for the public, and they should in all ways, shape and form endeavor to serve the interests of the public and the community. They should devise mechanisms to take care of people's problems. If they don't know how or they don't want to, let them step down and allow other people. A lot of people are occupying public office. They are old. and should retire, and they are taking these jobs as contracts, and there are young talents and young brains and people that can take over these positions of responsibilities. Let the country be open to change, and let's see changes and what the new changes are going to bring. The world is progressive. The world is going far. The world is advancing. People are innovating and creating. People are, initiating, whereas us as a country, we are trying to go backwards. And this is not okay. And that's my message to the Gambians.
Ku yoddu sa xat te quality jasna ñoo yor seen cumbukaay tur day uyu borom jasna pire sa ko bëggee fii si biir Gambia bi dawal foofu sa quality jasna your number one stop shop. Ana sama jigéen ñi dama bëgg ngeen jox ma seen nopp garmi yi ndaxte quality jasna amal nañ leen ay til yu toj daala poos abaaya yu yiiw waaye it amal nañ leen ay boreda yu rafet boreda yoo xam ne pour góor ñi la ak pour jigéen ñi amal nañ leen body scrub yi nga xam ne nii dafay defar seen yaram bam nice waaye it fàttewuñ fa diw yi. Ana sama jeeg yu pare yi quality jasna amal nañ leen fa andi cuuraay yu neex house spray ak bépp xeetu baax pour seen biir néeg. Dama ne atum ren jii ku sa jëkkër mere ku ne yow la neex ndaxte quality jasna ñëw na si dëkk bi pour defar sëy yi. Makeup artist yi bàyyi leen gannaaw ñu ngi leen fa amal ay makeup product yu quality waxu leen léegi nii foofa sa Westfield jàkkaarloog monument bi wala nga jokkoo quality jasna si 250 01 24 ak quality jasna taaral sa bopp taaral sa néeg waaye it bégal sa alaaji aas.